Hi, welcome to the November 20th meeting of the Lake Forest City Council. Thank you for coming. We'll begin the public session with the invocation from Pastor Mauricio Escobar of the Pharaoh Church right here in Lake Forest. Welcome.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. Let us pray.
Lord, we thank you for this day and for the opportunity you give us to be here today. I thank you for our mayor, our city council members. Please guide them and give them wisdom, that they may put their differences aside to make positive decisions for the city. We also thank you for the city servicemen, the women, law enforcement, first responders. Please keep them safe as they answer the call of duty. Please protect our schools, teachers, and children. For all those in authority and places of influence, be with them. Give them guidance and direction. We ask you for blessing upon tonight's meeting, and we thank you for the privilege it is to be part of Lake Forest. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance tonight will be led by Mayor Pro Tem Leah Basil.
Everyone, please rise.
Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have our report from the student liaison. Stefano, come on up. Welcome.
Hi. So kicking off with sports, our El Toro girls varsity tennis team were able to progress to CIF finals after their victory, winning their semifinal match. Unfortunately, they did lose in the finals, but they were commemorated with a plaque for getting all the way. So, way to go, girls tennis. Our canned food drive officially came to an end on November 16th, where we had all of our participating classes bring their cans to the upper quad, where the final count could be made, and they could be given to South County Outreach and Adopt a Neighbor. This year, we decided to shift our focus from the can count, reaching the 100,000 cans, to making sure that we were providing Adopt a Neighbor and South County Outreach with nutritious food that would be most help to those who needed it. We decided to minimize our intake of ramen and water. We used our donation money for strictly protein-oriented foods and the foods that South County Outreach was asking the school for, and we changed our counting system completely. We gathered enough food to feed 875 people for an entire month, and we reached a final revised count of over 28,000 cans. While it wasn't the 100,000 cans that we projected, it was revised to provide better nutritional food rather than trying to reach a count. So we thank you all who donated to the drive. As for upcoming events, our school is currently on Thanksgiving break, but soon after, on December 14th, we will be having our winter pep rally, where we'll be having all of our winter sports, performing a dance, and the students will be participating in fun activities. Following that, or before that, on December 10th, all 4 Saddleback Unified School District ASBs will be going to Laguna Hills High School. We will be running workshops, doing activities, and teaching leadership skills to all Saddleback Unified School District middle school ASBs. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you so much for your time, and as always, go Chargers, and I hope you all have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. We have 2 presentations tonight. Can I have a motion to approve the presentations?
Move the item.
Second.
Okay, I guess we should vote on that, huh? Seems silly, but let's do it anyway.
That motion carries unanimously.
Okay, the first of our recognitions are for our Leadership Academy graduates, and you have a report?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight it is my pleasure to introduce the graduates of the 19th Leadership Academy. On September 5th, 23 residents began the 8-week course, which featured presentations from each department at City Hall. Having completed the course, graduates are better able to assist themselves and their communities in the processes of day-to-day city operations. And if you would all please join me at the podium, we'll present certificates to those present and take a class photo. They're so insecure. We will start with Eric Tatevosian. There you go, sir. Come on in. Yeah, we'll take a class picture. Bob Holtzclaw.
Bob is also our vector control representative. Yeah, the mosquitoes talk about.
Darrett Nackvig. Desiree McGee. Diane Hanks. Eve Morgulan. June Sutter. Kyle Cott. Larissa Clark. Pat Bird. Steve Carlson. And Susie Diaz. We believe we checked everyone in, but we want to make sure. Any other Leadership Academy graduates here? I don't see anybody familiar. Nope. Okay. Our graduating class of 2018. Okay, but we got to get kind of closer.
I was a graduate of the Leadership Academy probably 8 years ago or 9 years ago, and every year, as those of you know, when I'm free and I don't have something else to do, on Wednesday nights I pop in and I attend those meetings, and I've done that for years, and I'm proud to say what a good job the city has done every year. It gets better, and better, and you do a better job, and the presentations are more interesting. Although the games have not been as interesting lately. They used to play better games. In the old days, they had better games. But the presentations are much better, and I think it's about time. I said this before. When I started the year as mayor, I had a list of 100 things that I wanted to accomplish, and Deborah and I sat down, and she culled me through the list. But one of those things is an advanced leadership class, and I'll bring that up again, because I think preparing people for the next step, for commissions, for the advisory groups, etc., I think that would be very valuable. And we really appreciate the fact you folks spend the time 2-3 hours a week for 8 weeks it is, right? And you're a very valuable resource. And I'd like to be able to take that resource and mature it even more so that the people involved in the commissions and other levels of service to the city have even more experience and background. So hopefully you can squeeze that in after the other 50 things that are on the list. About 2 years ago, I think it was, I was reading the Orange County Register, maybe it was 3 years ago, and looking at all these Lake Forest businesses that had come in number 1 and number 2 and number 3. So I said, hey, why don't we recognize them? That's a big deal. Coming in Orange County, number 1, number 2, number 3, that's a big deal. So we started, I think, last year. We started actually, did we start it 2 years ago? Okay. 2 years ago. And but we've gotten more elitist. You know, in the old days, we used to recognize the number 2 and the number 3. This year, we're just the number 1s. All right, well, I'd ask you going forward to look at that again, because I think coming in number 2 in Orange County is still a big deal, and number 3 is still a big deal. Of course, for those of you who came in number 1, I mean, what more can you say? You're number 1. But I think 1, 2, and 3, next time we recognize everybody who comes in. Do you have a report on that? City Manager? Oh, Adrian?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Mayor, if you wouldn't mind joining me down here at the podium for this presentation.
Adrian, for a while there, was the only person in our one of 2 people in our economic development, and he worked his butt off for months and months and months and months and months. He did a terrific job, and I met him we ran into him at one of those events, God knows how many events, and I said, well, are they going to steal you in Anaheim like they're stealing everybody else? And he said, well, you know, I'm working a lot, so I had him, I encouraged him to go put in for a raise, and he got it, and he's here with us today. So, Adrian, thank you for all the hard work you've been doing for the past year.
Thank you.
This is agenda item number 2. Agenda item number 2, recognition of Lake Forest businesses named in the Orange County Register's Best of OC Award Program, submitted by City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Adrian Grijalva from the Economic Development Division, and I'm here this evening to honor the fantastic Lake Forest businesses that were recently recognized in the Orange County Register's Best of OC. The OC Register's Best of OC is an annual publication that recognizes the Orange County's finest places to eat, shop, play, and visit, as chosen by OC Register readers. This year's edition celebrated the 25th anniversary of the publication and featured over 70 voting categories. As we all know, Lake Forest is home to some of the best businesses in Orange County. I'm happy to announce that 8 Lake Forest businesses were voted first place in their respective categories. This evening, we would like to recognize these businesses and congratulate them on their success. I will now call each business up individually to receive their certificate and pose for a photo with the mayor. As I call your business name, please come forward. Please remain up here for a group photo at the end with all of our council members. So, to begin, we're going to start off with the winner of the Best Fitness Center category, which was 24-Hour Fitness.
I have to suck in my stomach. You should have warned me. I went to bad dinner.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So involved.
Stay up. We're going to do a group photo with the... You can take the pictures all night, folks. This is okay with me.
Sorry, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. The winner of the Best Thrift Store category was Goodwill.
Where's the gym?
The winner of the Best Home Improvement Store category was the Home Depot.
Congratulations. Go there all the time.
Next up, the winner of the Best Barbecue category was Lucille's Smokehouse Barbecue. I would also like to note that Lucille's was recognized as the third place winner at this year's Taste of Lake Forest.
There'll be discount coupons for everybody after the meeting. Just go have dinner right now.
The winner of the Best Burger category was In-N-Out Burger.
That's what a hamburger is all about. Also discount coupons.
And finally, the winner of the Best Jeweler/Jewelry Store category was the Jewelry Box of Lake Forest.
Repeat winner. How many years have you won? 8 in a row?
This is the Jewelry Box of Lake Forest's 8th year in a row of winning first place.
I take my watch there all the time.
I would just like to make sure that there's no one else in the audience that is here for Best of OC. Okay. At this time, Council wouldn't mind getting together for a group photo with all of our award winners. I would also like to note the remaining winners that were unfortunately unable to make it to tonight's City Council meeting. The winner of the Best Kids Birthday Party Venue category was Chuck E. Cheese. And the winner of the Best Senior Living Community category was Freedom Village Continuing Care Retirement Community. Congratulations to all of our winners. Thank you for your excellent service and locating your business in Lake Forest. We wish you continued success and prosperity. Thank you.
It's good that we take time out to recognize this kind of achievement in our leadership folks as well. We should have one of these at every meeting. I'll put that on the list, number 102. But next time, bring the discount coupons, please. All right, we're now in the public comment section of the meeting. As a reminder, if you would like to participate, please fill out a blue speaker card, turn it into the city clerk, and your name will be called. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. When you're called to speak, You will see 3 lights. The first one is green. When you have 30 seconds left, the light will turn to yellow, and when your time has expired, the light will turn to red. At that time, your public comment period has ended, and the council requests that you conclude your comments. Madam Clerk, have we received any requests to speak?
Yes, Your Honor. Bob Holtzclaw, followed by Jim Reichert.
Bob Holzlaw, who just got a leadership.
Now I know where everybody works. Okay. Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Bob Holzclaw, longtime resident of Lake Forest. Just talking about the local elections, I think this was probably the most disgusting elections we ever had. Years ago, when 2 Republicans ran against each other, the Republican Party just kind of sat back and let the best man win. No more like that anymore. Even calling a candidate from the Protestant faith an atheist. Next year, we'll probably have 4 city councilmen vote on rezoning Nikasi Nursery to residential against the wishes of the Foothill and Portola residents because of schools and traffic. But what do they care? On the county level, we lost every congressional seat in Orange County thanks to Fred Whitaker's leadership. And actually, I don't even look at it as a Republican Party. I look at it as a Republican PAC. We probably still have more Republicans in Orange County, but now they're called independents and non-party affiliations because the party doesn't really represent the residents anymore. It's always big business over residents. The OC Republican Party under Fred Whitaker has become a political PAC that only is concerned with getting elected with developer money, and residents, those are always second. Wait until 2020 because the Dems will now dominate the Orange County area, and next thing they'll be looking at is council seats because those are the people who will be grooming to go up the ladder, and that's where they're going to be looking for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Reichert.
Jim sits on our Traffic and Parking Commission. You're the head, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, well, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Hey, I just wanted to give you an update on what we've been doing. We've approved 6 PPLTs with FYAs a couple of months ago. I'm learning the techno speak. Those are permissive protected left turn lights with flashing yellow arrows. There's going to be 6 of them as a pilot that's coming to your, hopefully, December or January meeting. That's really good news. Tonight you're seeing a request for permit parking in one of the neighborhoods, which we recommended approval of. That's later on in your agenda. The Bennett Ranch permit parking thing that you approved is moving forward. The signs are going up. Permits are being issued. There were 3 streets that did not meet the vote criteria. One of those streets gave us a petition requesting that vote be overturned. We told them it takes currently a 2-year wait period to have another vote. That's another policy that we're going to be looking at our meeting Thursday. We're looking at the parking regulation manual. Going to be making some recommended changes, which hopefully you'll get in December, January time period, hopefully December. And at our next meeting, we're also going to be looking at stop signs, on Saddleback Ranch Road at Ridgeline. That's being looked at. We're going to be finalizing those revisions to the parking manual I just mentioned. Looking at traffic, the LFTM, Lake Forest Traffic Mitigation Program, what the status of that is. An update on public works projects and traffic signal synchronization. So we'll probably be here till midnight Thursday night, so it'll be a long meeting. But we're also looking at several other things that are not on our agenda. We've asked staff to look at Peachwood traffic. Had a lot of complaints and requests from residents about speeding and dangerous conditions on Peachwood, and I know they're putting some traffic count monitoring devices on the street. And we've made some suggestions to the staff on how that could be improved. We're looking at a dedicated right turn lane at Lake Forest Drive at the mobile station on Trabuco because the traffic backs up quite a long way. Traffic backup on Ridge Route at Trabuco. That's another issue. Signal synchronization on Bake and Alton. Obtaining grants for funding of distracted driving enforcement. That's Mr. Pequino came up with that one, really good idea. An additional left turn inlet on Town Center as you're going over to Walmart, past Market. There's a place there that maybe a opening could be cut in the median so we could get another entrance into that very busy intersection. Evacuation plans and emergency response procedures for the city during an emergency such as a fire. Looking at that.
As interesting as this is, the red light has come on.
Okay, and one more. In Regency Park, parking. Trying to find a way to get more parking at Regency Park. There's lots of other things, but we've only had 3 meetings, so the list is growing and staff's quite busy. So that was it.
Okay.
Questions?
Thank you.
Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank
you know, we had that Citizens Traffic Advisory Committee, and they did almost nothing. And so when we finally got the Traffic and Planning Commission set up, I tasked you specifically that night to do something, to bring us back results, and it made me very proud. I'm happy to see that you guys are turning things out and very busy.
We're busy. Staff's busy, too. Thank you.
I concur, and thank you. And this is the second update you've given us. I received one via email, and I'm just so impressed with the amount of information that you guys are handling right now. And I have to say, I'm especially happy about Saddleback Ranch Road and the Ridgeline stop sign. It's over the moon. Thank you so much for listening to the people and listening to the needs of the community and doing something.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other speakers?
Nothing further from the public, Your Honor, but perhaps...
Facebook, we have 2. Welcome, Facebook.
Sean Fletcher, comment for council. On December 23, 2014, in the case of Adam Nick et al., plaintiffs and appellants versus City of Lake Forest et al., case number G047115, the Court of Appeals, 4th District, Division 3, ruled in favor of the city and awarded it costs and fees. It is my understanding that these costs and fees were quite substantial. What is the status of the city collecting on this judgment? If nothing has been collected, I would request an explanation as to why not. If it has been collected, then I'd like to know whether that was collected fully covered, what was collected fully covered the city's costs and fees, and if not, then I would like an explanation why not.
Thank you for your comment. Next question.
Julie Mayer Grable, comment for council. How can we get permit parking in the Lyon Parkside neighborhood off Regency and Parkside? We have a terrible parking problem, homes with 5 to 7 cars each, with none in the garage or driveway, and renters with 5 to 6 individual renters, plus their cars and guests. Cars blocking driveways and parked over sidewalks, and in the middle of the cul-de-sac.
Well, for one thing, Commissioner Reichert said they are studying the Regency area, number 1. Number 2, you can go to the city's website and in the search box put in permit parking, and that will direct you to the forms and the process you need to engage in order to get permit parking. Tonight we have a whole bunch more neighborhoods getting permit parking. 2 months ago we had some more neighborhoods, so it is entirely possible, and you just have to follow the procedures. And Dave Rogers, Facebook, they can see. Dave, that's the guy you got to talk to, and you got to bug him. And if he doesn't help you out, let me know.
We have one more, Your Honor.
Sure.
Pavla Diab, comment for council. Good evening, council. My question tonight is regarding reckless driving and speeding on Kanata Road. When apartment complexes don't have formal representation of their residents like HOAs do, it is very difficult to bring issues like this to the city and to be taken seriously. In lieu of calling the non-emergency line at OCSD each time there is a dangerous driving, How can residents hope to have a better situation along that road? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This was mentioned about 2 months ago, and so I started taking that road on my way home. I probably have done it 40 or 50 times just to see if I could experience it. And I also asked the police chief to investigate. I believe you did have somebody out there, or we had the machine out there as well. Could you give a very brief summary of what you found?
In the past, we've put the radar trailers out there to remind drivers of the speed that they're going. At the same time, we collect data on that, and then we use that data to select specific times of day to do enforcement.
And did you find anything grossly abnormal when you did your studies?
I don't have that data in front of me, but
Okay.
I don't recall it being...
I remember that we had a conversation about it after you did that, and there was nothing unusual or grossly abnormal you reported at that time. And in the 40 times I've driven that street, I haven't seen it either. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You probably should go up to Ask Lake Forest or to our new mobile app and put in a request for it to be studied again. But we did study it in the past, and I personally drove it many times, and we didn't see it. It's not the answer you want, but it's what we have. Any more questions? Okay. I have item 103 to the list, and that is, we also talked about moving Facebook Live to Skype so we could actually see the people. And Deborah's eyes are rolling back in her head. You're not even at 50 yet. But that would be another advancement. It'd be nice to be able to see the people and them to see us too. All right, then we'll move on to the consent calendar. Items 3 through 11 on the City Council agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the City Council, the public, or staff request specific items be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Madam Clerk, have you received any requests to remove an item from the consent calendar?
No, Your Honor.
Move consent calendar, including warrant registry.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's a vote.
That motion carries unanimously.
Okay, next are items for discussion. The first one, item number 12, is I think the city clerk, you want to read it, don't you? Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Agenda item 12, establishment of permit parking restrictions on a portion of Campo Rojo, Jubilo Place, Maza Court, and a portion of Pino Lane, submitted by Director of Public Works, City Engineer.
Mayor and members of the council, we have a brief overview by Dave Rogers, our traffic engineering manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. This is, as you had mentioned previously, this is one of the neighborhoods that recently came through the process, met all the requirements, was reviewed by our Traffic and Parking Commission, and they and staff are both recommending tonight that you adopt the appropriate resolution so that we can establish permit parking in this neighborhood. And if you do approve that tonight, we will then work with the neighborhood to place the signs and issue the permits.
Okay, do we have any questions or comments?
Nothing from the public, Your Honor.
Colleagues?
Now, I'll move staff recommendation. What a pleasant thing to do, to have a spot in front of your home when you come home that's available to park, take trash out and not see trash in the morning from overflow parking. So this is a great thing for the city to be looking into, and thank you for your diligence in making sure that the requirements were made.
There was a motion and then a long speech, but I'm looking for a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Please vote.
That motion carries unanimously.
Item 13.
Agenda item 13, request for funding support, 2018 drowning prevention campaign, submitted by Acting City Clerk. Good evening again, Mayor and City Council members. The city received a letter from the Orange County Drowning Prevention Task Force requesting financial support for the drowning prevention campaign in the amount of $5,000 or more. As in previous years, the County of Orange has pledged to match all contributions received. Staff has placed this item on the agenda tonight for your consideration, and any further direction is at the discretion of the City Council.
Do we have any comments?
No, Your Honor.
Colleagues?
Move staff recommendation.
Mayor and members of the council, if the council was interested in this program, we would like the council to advise us as to how much money you'd like to dedicate towards it.
Wasn't the previous amount 5,000?
Yeah.
Yes, the previous amount was $5,000.
I thought that was what staff recommending was 5,000.
Well, you want that in his motion?
Yes, I'd like that in
I
your
make that
motion. Thank
motion
you.
for $5,000 to drowning prevention.
Do we have a second? I'll second it. Is there any discussion?
I didn't have any discussion.
Oh, okay. Susan. Okay, that motion carries unanimously.
Item 14.
Agenda item 14, discussion to subsidize video cameras for neighborhood watch program submitted by city manager.
Mayor and members of the council, we have a presentation by Assistant to the City Manager, Louis Lacasella.
Thank you, Deborah. Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. Councilmember Robertson obtained consensus to agendize the discussion at the August 7, 2018 council meeting to provide some background information on Neighborhood Watch. There are currently 18 active Neighborhood Watch groups within the city, which is approximately 8,000 households. 2 started in June of this year, and 4 more are in the startup process. Police Services defines an active Neighborhood Watch as any group that has contact with police services within the past 3 years. The contact can be through email, through social media, and Nextdoor. So staff researched approaches that have been taken by other cities and found that a large number of cities in LA County have implemented rebate programs. And as you can see on the slide of the PowerPoint, the list of the cities as mentioned. So as a result, staff reached out to a variety of camera companies, and Ring was the only company that expressed an interest in partnering with the city for a rebate program. Ring is offered to match a city rebate up to $50, and to provide some background on Ring products, residents would be able to receive instant alerts on their mobile devices, either when a doorbell is pressed or when a built-in motion sensors are triggered. And here's a picture of the Ring doorbell if you're not already familiar with it. So regarding the alley cities that have that have implemented a rebate program, there are some common eligibility requirements that staff found. Program participants must be residents to qualify, qualifying home security systems and products which are eligible, and we attach those as attachment 2 to the agenda report. And a maximum of 1 rebate per house is allowed. Also, rebates are only provided for new home security systems, not those that have been purchased in prior months. So basically, this is not a retro-backed program. And that rebates are also available on a first-come, first-served basis. So those are some of the common eligibility requirements in some of the cities that we've researched. So if the City Council were to be interested in establishing a rebate program, there are a couple of policy questions that need to be answered. First is what purchases would be eligible for the city rebate, and what would be the eligibility requirements to receive the rebate. And then finally, how much funding would be available for the city to allocate towards this program. So we provided a summary on the last slide of the PowerPoint, basically offering some options to each of those policy questions. Regarding purchases that are eligible, there could be rebates on basically any video camera by any company, or we can limit the rebates to Ring products only. And then regarding eligibility to receive, the rebates could be solely designated for residents that are part of neighborhood watch groups already, and future ones that start up, and basically this could be used to incentivize neighborhood watch groups. Second, we have basically residents that are living in communities with a higher level of crime, and we would use data from the Orange County Sheriff's Department to help us with that. Or finally, we can offer the rebates to citywide to all residents. Now, determining the budget, we did see that most cities did partner with Ring, and they did implement the maximum, which was $50, which Ring matches $50, which equals, $100 off the particular Ring products. So that could be one option. Or secondly, the city, could start a pilot project, allocate $5,000, which would be around 100 rebates, to basically see the level of interest from the community. So that's some of the options regarding some of the policy questions for the City Council. And with that, staff recommends City Council exercise discretion.
Any public comments?
No, Your Honor.
Facebook? No, sir. Colleagues?
If we participate in this, could we do like a mix to where we could have the ability to allow the residents to choose a Ring product where they get the $50 rebate plus the $50 from the city? But if someone wanted to have security cameras that focus in on their driveway, or someone overseeing the street, could they get the $50 rebate from the city? And would the city still be able to participate in the Ring program?
Yeah, so attachment 2 of the staff report, there are a variety of different camera systems that Ring would offer. So depending on what the resident would like, they could select one of the cameras that could be offered.
But I don't think we have to do either exclusive Ring or not. I think we could do a mix.
Suggested. The advantage of neighborhood watches is our Orange County Sheriff's Department is a wonderful department with dedicated employees, but the eyes and ears of the community is what's really important for us to catch criminals and keep that down. But the fact that I like the idea of, you see crimes that happen and there's overflow to where there was a burglary or a car break-in, but there's a camera somewhere along the street that catches a person going by. So if someone wanted to have a more in-depth security system that might view the street, that'd be more beneficial to me as a council member and the law enforcement than someone coming up to the doorknob and checking for doors, which does happen. But I think that if we were able to do it jointly to where it wasn't exclusive, a Ring only, but maybe having Ring, but if someone wanted to get the $50 rebate from the city and put light or cameras that actually cover the front yard.
Yeah, Ring covers the front yard. Those aren't exclusive. It's not an issue of Ring or not Ring. Ring is a multifaceted provider, so it's not that they're simply a front door. They provide the whole thing. But the crux of your question
is if you do both.
Well, Ring can do both, but I think your question is, for example, I have Arlo. That's the system I use. It's a different company. But could I buy Arlo and get the $50 from the city? I think that's the question.
Yeah, that's the question.
Right.
Yeah, so we could check with the Ring to see if they'd be interested in, allowing the partnership with the city, and then the city on the side offering rebates to other products.
Well, I think that that's why I was wondering if they would exclude us from the program, because obviously the $100 is better than $50, but the fact that if Ring offers that front yard camera stuff, maybe that would be sufficient. But if the city wanted to encourage the cameras, I think that the city could still, if possible, not include the Ring rebate, but allow the residents to go to the provider they want to still get the $50 and not the $100.
Yeah, so that's something to follow up on. Any other questions or comments? But that's also a separate issue, which at some future time, when we met with the Ring people, so we also discussed the street surveillance as a separate thing the city might want to do, independent of what the homeowners get. So that's a topic for a separate discussion down the line. Right now, we're just doing home-based systems, which might extend to the street. For example, my Arlo does get the street, but it doesn't, only gets the 25 feet in front of my house.
I was thinking about this and talking to another council member, and we figure that for $1 million you could do every house in Lake Forest, and what would that do to crime in Lake Forest? But I support the $5,000 pilot program and the $50 rebate for the city to go forward, and so I'll make a motion that we put forth this pilot program and make it available to those that are involved with the neighborhood watches throughout the community of Lake Forest.
Well, I'll second that just for the purposes of discussion, and because there are other items to talk about. For example, who are we targeting this to? Is it going to be targeted to people with high crime areas, which the chief has already given us a heat map, so we know where the high crime areas are? Is it targeted to neighborhood watch groups? Some of them are in high crime areas, but some of them aren't. Or is it available to anybody? And so that's the next. So I'm happy with the 5,000. I'm happy with the question there, but then we need to determine where we're going to focus.
I think we should focus on the citywide, but allow those that are involved with the neighborhood watch programs already to be the first into this, and then if we like this program and it's deemed successful, maybe we do an encouragement and make it open to people that want to start up neighborhood watch. Maybe that be an incentive to get more of our neighbors to join in with neighborhood watch.
My question is it mutually exclusive? Do they have to be part of a neighborhood watch program in order to receive this rebate?
Well, that's up to us. Or, for example, I recently helped set up a neighborhood watch program, and there's 12 people in that group, but there's probably 50 homes that they set it up for. But only 12 of the people are actually in the group. So if we go with neighborhood watch, is it only those 12 people who are eligible, or is it anybody on that street for whom they have the neighborhood watch? So there are, and there's no right answer. This is really what are we going to move forward with? I'm going to suggest that we move forward with limiting it to people who are members of neighborhood watch, not necessarily the street, and not necessarily if you're not, and see how that goes, and then bring that back to us after we've spent the $5,000, and then we can figure out, okay, that was a bad decision, that was a good decision.
I would take that as a friendly, Mayor Gardner. I like that idea. For the fact is, those that have come forward and are involved with active neighborhood watch communities within the neighborhood are more likely to be at eyes and ears for us. If someone's strange, if there was a burglary in the neighborhood, maybe they would be more inclined to get back to us.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So I would take that as a friendly.
So it would be members of an existing neighborhood watch.
Does it have to be existing? Can it be an
or
establishment
they
of
could
a
start
new?
a new one. And in fact, the city manager, and that's a way to incentivize people to do it.
Yeah.
And we want more neighborhood watches. So it's wouldn't that be great if 4 neighborhood watches started up?
Because they wanted to ring.
Because they wanted to ring. That would be great.
Can we amend that statement then, not just exclusive, but encouraging?
Existing or new.
Yeah, existing or new.
Okay. Is that okay with you?
Yeah,
It's okay with me.
I like the idea.
I have a question, if you don't mind, Your Honor. Now, back to, is it just going to be strictly for ring product or for any product?
Well, I think we said the ring rebate goes with the ring, but we would check with ring to see whether or not they will go along with us bifurcating the decision. If that's okay with them, then I think it's better for us to do that. If it's not okay with them, I'd hate to lose the extra $50.
Because the mayor chose something other than ring.
Yeah. It doesn't work as good as ring. I made a bad decision. I confess, it's not the first time. It won't be the last. Probably not even the last one tonight. Okay, so there's a little homework to do, and then do you have all the guidelines you need?
So right now, your motion is for any system for Neighborhood Watch participants, new or existing, a $5,000 pilot program with a $50 rebate, ideally coupled with the ring rebate if they would allow that to proceed, but your program would be either way.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So vote, please.
That motion carries unanimously.
Okay, now somewhere along the line, so item 104 is the surveillance issue, the street surveillance going back, and then item number 105 is the business, because this may be a thing that's very helpful to businesses in a similar fashion. So I think what we're doing now is getting it off the ground for residential, but at some point or another, a lot of our crimes are, business and robberies and break-ins. So let's get this, digest this under our belt, and then in discussions, because we did have preliminary discussions with them. They said it could be done, and it's just a question of us getting the ability to bring those back. So those are the two things at some point to bring back: street surveillance and expanding it to the business network as well. Okay, great. It should help a lot. Should be a big... In fact, when they gave a presentation, they gave us a study. What did it had reduced crime by 37% or something like that when they did a study of that. It had been very successful. And then separately, I'm talking to the police chief now. We're negotiating with OCSD about the police module. Would that be correct?
Currently, there is no active negotiation. They've sent us, the Ring representative sent us an MOU. But that MOU, there's numerous things that MOU that would need to be discussed with the Sheriff's Department and County Council before anything moves forward with that.
Okay. Just for your information, that police module is a module that lets the police tap into it and then makes, I would think, the response time, and it has problems. It's not perfectly neat, but on the positive side, it would save a lot of time and allow police to respond more rapidly if you could deal with the funny problems associated with it. So that would be item 106. Okay, city manager's report.
I have nothing further.
Okay. Then Councilmember Cagley.
Just a few things. One is, I was really pleased at the dedication of the Veterans Park this afternoon. Very pleasantly surprised the crowd that showed up. It's a beautiful park. Had a great crowd there. Scott's done a wonderful job in designing that and working with that and getting it together. And it really was good to see everybody. I think it must have been, a couple hundred people there, weren't there? They ran on coffee cups. I know that was a bad thing, but that's okay. It was a good time. Secondly, last weekend, I think Friday or Saturday, there was a fire over off of Rockfield in Lake Forest, but it's beyond on the other side of El Toro. It said displaced 10 adults and 8 children from a 1,600 square foot house. Now, surely we have to have occupancy rules of some sort in this city. If not, we should investigate them, because 18 people in a 1,600 square foot house, that's unhealthy, unreasonable. That's my rant and lecture for the evening in that regard. Third is a question I have from a couple residents over where Nancy is in her home, and that's because street sweeping is on Tuesdays from 8 to noon. They can't park there. This morning, the street sweeper went down the street. She's on it at 8:20, and they just ask after the street sweeper goes through, can he not park back on their street without being feared of being ticketed? It seems like we should investigate and see if we can change the ordinance in that regard. I don't know how complicated that would be, but we need to look into it. And finally, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Robinson.
Just briefly, I concur with Colonel Cagley's comments regarding Veterans Park. I think that that was done superbly. I know that we had some challenges there, both financially and time-wise, but it's a beautiful park, and I think that we're all very focused on making sure that it stays that way, recognizing that it's going to be a challenge because of some of the issues there, but we need to make sure that that continues to be a park that people really enjoy, and it doesn't get anywhere near the conditions that it had previous to its renovation. So I too share the same concerns about the home and the fire and the impact to the family. And the reality is that it's incredibly expensive to live here in South Orange County, and there are a lot of people that are just trying to find a way to make ends meet. And I'm saddened to see that a family's been affected this way. It could be multiple families. I don't know the entire situation there, but I encourage the community to try to support that family or those families any way they possibly can. And my understanding is that they may fall within state guidelines. Is there anything that you can comment on, just briefly, just based on general understanding?
Yes, the state is the one that regulates occupancy like that, and it is incredible how many people can be in one dwelling. I mean, the number is really shocking. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it's rather high. So I can provide that information for you later, but the number that Councilmember Cagley quoted is well within that guideline.
And I share the same concerns. I mean, it just seems ludicrous that many people can be in that small of a space, but state law trumps where we're at and what we can do. But there are things that we can be looking at as far as ordinances that are being impacted that maybe we're not enforcing the way we should. Maybe we can't deal with occupancy issues, but we can deal with other issues. But beyond that, like I said, it's just housing's really expensive here in South Orange County, and there's a lot of people that have to work jobs that don't provide the wages to be able to afford a home here. A lot of our residents probably couldn't afford the home they live in right now, so that's a big challenge. And I think because of that, we need to really make sure that we're planning in a very smart way and trying to provide for those that need to work at all levels to provide the services and products that we all need. So, we need to do that in a responsible, planned way. And so that's one thing that I took from this. But appreciate the time, and hope you all have a great evening.
Councilmember Voigt.
I, too, attended the opening of the Veterans Park. I never dreamed the turnout that we were going to have, and so it shows the passion that Lake Forest has for our veterans. I pulled up, and I think Mayor Gardner mentioned it, that we didn't expect the turnout that was there. So what an honor for Lake Forest to have our own Veterans Park, a dedicated memorial to where people could reflect upon the reason why we're all free, because people are willing to live and die and serve our nation. We're the home of the free because we're the land of the brave, and so thank you for the veterans. And it was a wonderful dedication, beautiful park. We even had a flyover of a few squadrons of geese, and thank God they didn't bomb any of us, but there was a few times where we were all ducking. But what a great thing. And sometimes when you open up an engine or open up a wall, you don't really know what you're going to get inside. And when we drained the lake, we weren't aware of the seepage that had gone into the surrounding landscape and underneath the sidewalks, and the amount of work that was actually done on top of what we had planned for was immense. And so my hat's off to the staff and those that were watching over that. So it was a lot more work than we thought, but it sure came out beautifully. And so thank you to staff, and thank you for the community that came out to honor our veterans today. Thank you. Nothing else.
Mayor Pro Tem Basil.
If you haven't had an opportunity to see the park yet, I really encourage you to go. The area where they've installed the branches of service, if you look at the top of each of the columns, the artist who did the American flag folded up into a triangle, it's spectacular. I mean, they really did a tremendous honor to the veterans that were there, and there were quite a few there, one of them from World War II. It was amazing, and you know, that park has a special affection in my heart because that's where I kissed my husband for the first time in 2007. So it's really nice to see it invigorated again and turned into something that's really beautiful, and the staff did a great job. The design was impeccable. It was very well done.
Okay, thank you. And Jonathan, do you have the remote? Do we have the remote? Yeah, I'm going to show some slides of my council comments. Yeah. So, as most of you know, I lost the election, and I was working on my concluding remarks for the next meeting, and I got it down to 2 hours. So, and I thought, oh, nobody wants to sit there and listen to me for 2 hours. So I decided I'd put the first hour tonight, and then we'd have the second hour in 2 weeks' time. So I'm going to do part of my concluding remarks tonight. I'm joking about the hour. Okay. So it's not working. There you go.
We got next week.
Yeah, we could have a special council meeting. Okay. Okay, first I wanted to talk about state of the city, information about how we are as a city. This is a comparison between Lake Forest and Orange County and California as a whole. You can see our Part 1 crime rate, we're the lowest. Our property crime rate, we're the lowest. Unemployment, the lowest. Household income, the highest. Poverty level, the lowest. Home ownership, the highest. That's very impressive. These are all the latest statistics that Carlo and I put together for the mayor's pitch. That's looking at Lake Forest compared to the county and the state. This is now looking at Lake Forest compared to some of our neighboring cities. Once again, comparing us with Irvine, Anaheim, Huntington Beach, and Garden Grove. Property crime, the lowest. Unemployment, the lowest. Household income, the highest. Poverty level, the lowest. Home ownership, the highest. So whether you're looking at our relationship to our many of our neighboring cities, or you're looking at the county, or you're looking at the state as a whole, we're leaving Lake Forest in excellent condition. There are some other positive attributes to talk about. We're debt-free. We have a modern infrastructure. We have very low deferred maintenance. We have probably the most engaged residents in the county. We're technologically advanced. We have a diversified business environment, and we have the second highest sales tax growth and the second highest property tax growth in all of Orange County. Bottom line is Lake Forest today, 2018, has probably never been stronger than it has in our entire history. The city's got a great foundation. But what are the challenges ahead for us? Challenges are keeping the Civic Center on time and on budget. By some miracle, we've done it so far, and now you got 7 more months to do it, but that's a major challenge. We've got a mobile app up, and it's still a little buggy. We've got to get that working effectively. We've got to contain the homeless problem. We've done an excellent job so far, but that needs to be managed. We're trying to get more affordable homes. We're getting them very slowly, but it's much too slow, and we need to speed that up. We're addressing the parking and traffic problems, as we just heard from Commissioner Reichert. We need to keep doing that, and we need to finish the general plan and make it useful in meeting the future realities, because in the future, we're not going to be faced with the kinds of things we have been faced with in the past. We need to follow through getting the local animal shelter. We have to change over from the HLO. The HLO has done a terrific job, but we're now into agency management, and we need to change over from the HLO into the agency management. We need to change over from police parking enforcement, which is extremely expensive, to civilian enforcement. We're talking about the multi-city street sweeping program. We need to get that off the ground. The neighborhood watch, which we just talked about, we need to get that up and running and go to a wider surveillance program. In the neighborhood parks, we got, $7 million, $6.5 million. We need to get them on time and on budget. I can send you a copy. You don't have to. It's 105 slides. I have to give it to you because it doesn't go over the internet. So I'm joking. The chief looks up and says, "Holy shit, 105 slides." No, it's a joke. Challenges ahead. So what are the challenges? We looked at the challenges of maintaining, of existing, and now we're looking at new programs. We need to make maximum use of the Performing Arts Center. There's a resource, and we need to get on that. We need to keep Veterans Park clean. We have a fee schedule. We're relooking at the fees, and because we're 10 years old with the fees, and we've got to come up with an equitable fee schedule. We need to implement the police cost savings idea. There's a multi-city, 13-city study, which is just now coming out, and we need to implement or see which of those kinds of issues we can implement. We've got to get the community foundation off the ground. I'm happy to say that Mayor Pro Tem Basil and Councilman Cadley have been working their butts off trying to get that up for our next meeting.
Mayor, you've hit the red light for the 5 minutes on your comments.
I know.
I just want to remind you about your policy.
Fortunately, I'm the mayor, but I've only got 2 more to go.
It's any consolation, I didn't use my full 5 minutes, so 2 minutes, and that's all you got left.
Okay. I think I can do those. Also, the new programs, there's the I-5 intersection modifications coming up. We don't know what the heck they're going to propose, and we have no idea. It's going to significantly impact the businesses along Bridger Road there, so that's another challenge for the new programs. And the biggest one, which the city manager and I talk about all the time, are increased expectations. People in the city have never been served more effectively and efficiently than they have in recent years. And they're used to a high level of functioning. And the demands are going up, and they're asking for more, quicker, better, sooner. And that's going to create an enormous challenge going forward. How can we meet those expectations within the rationale that we have? That being said, I'll save the remaining hour and a half for 2 weeks, but I will post it on the city's website so people will be able to see it in advance. So thank you very much for being here tonight. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I'll see you in 2 weeks.